Everyone, and welcome to another episode of Unleash Your Power. This is your host, Jeffrey Pinzon. Super excited to get started on our second season today. First and foremost, I want to give thanks to everyone who has reached out to me, letting me know that you guys have gotten value from the previous episodes. It means the world to me. This is one of the objectives of why I created this podcast, to bring examples to the community and to bring tools that you guys could go out there and implement in your life and really change your family's trajectory. And today, what better way to get started on our second season than with this gentleman that we're going to have the pleasure of sitting down and conversating a little bit right now. And it's funny, me personally, I wanted to have him on our first season. Due to his busy schedule, we weren't able to do it. But one thing that I've learned that the fortune is always on the follow-up. If you continue following up and if you're committed to your vision, you're going to make things happen. So without further ado, please, if you guys are listening to this on the car, if you guys are listening to it on your way to work, please listen with an intent to learn, listen with an intent to go out there and take action, because this could potentially save your life and change your family's life forever. So without further ado, please help me welcome this gentleman who has changed his family's trajectory, who has built an empire from nothing, and now he's helping so many other people build a legacy for themselves and their family. So without further ado, please help me welcome Mr. Villaescusa,
hey, Jeffrey.
21 All-Stars.
Hey, good morning, everybody.
Thank you, brother.
I didn't know that I denied you so many times last year.
So many times.
Yeah, it wasn't me personally, it was somebody else probably did.
I didn't take it personally.
Yeah.
So
But it's in the follow-up.
it's on the follow-up.
There
That's
you go.
one thing that I learned. And look, now I have that opportunity now sitting
Well, good
down.
morning, let's have fun.
Let's have fun.
Yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit about who you are, your upbringing, so like that the audience, people that might not know you, they get to know you a little bit?
Yeah, of course. Good morning, everybody. Joe Villaescusa, Central All-Stars. We're here in Pico Rivera. Started my career as a real estate agent about 34 years ago. I think I had the best real estate coach back then, and really changed my life from not only the coaching standpoint, but obviously getting into real estate as a supervisor, manager, and then as a broker of this company. So it's been a long time, 3 decades, 3.5 decades, but seen hundreds and hundreds of real estate agents come and go. Some do exceedingly well to where they retired, and some that unfortunately failed because they didn't do the basic fundamentals. And I'm sure we're going to talk about those things. From my perspective, what people have to do to be successful. So I don't want it to be about me. I want it to be about your audience, and from the wisdom that I can bring to how I see the real estate market today, and what I think those agents and people that are getting into the business have to do every single day to succeed at such a high level.
So let me ask you this: what made you get started in real estate? Because you said you have 33 years in the business,
Yeah.
and your company has been in business since 1986, right?
Yeah, it has. And how I started, obviously, I went to school locally. I was a pretty decent athlete, so I've always had coaches in my life. Had pretty good upbringing. Parents just like everybody else, they can do the best that they can do, but it wasn't everything that I wanted. So real estate was the affordability to getting to where I wanted to be, and a lot of it started by accident, because you go out there, take a listing, get an expired listing, and you start doing those things, and you start actualizing yourself that, hey, you can be that person, and step into those shoes of other people that were very good at what they did. So yeah, sold real estate for just about a year and 2 months, so a very short period of time. And then the broker was going to retire, so he wanted me to run an office, and he wanted me to go to a brand versus independent. So I started independent, and I knew the resistance out in the market with independent companies. And when you had the Coldwell Bankers and the ERAs and there's different brands out there, C21s, I knew that I wanted to go to a brand, because I was having pushback. They would say, hey, Joe, I like you, but we like the brand, we like this. And it was really brand driven. So I found in a short period of time, people were brand driven. So I was, being in college and understanding what a brand can do if you know how to leverage it right, it really could do the things that it's done for me over the 33 years. So I appreciate that. The company has done exceedingly well over the 30 years, and seen all different types of markets, ups and downs. We not only survived 2008, we actually became the #1 company worldwide. So as the economy was going to the toilet, these agents here outperformed the market. So we saw what, with the proper coaching and leveraging and utilizing the brand, what it can do individually for us and also for the clients in our industry.
Absolutely. So, what made you transition from being a sales real estate to being now a broker of an office, running a team? That's not easy.
Sometimes
have the courage to do that.
Yeah, there's some days I ask myself that same question because, quite frankly, to be a real estate agent is so much easier, I think, than it is to supervise people. It's just easier. It's a different task, but I think it's easier. I think, being a salesperson, you have so much out there that you can do. But
as far as what?
From buyers and sellers to investments to commercial to industry, there's just a lot of things you can do if you really understand our industry and what's available out there to us, because I think a lot of times we don't take that into consideration. But more importantly is, going from being a salesperson, and the next step was obviously to become a broker, because my broker said, hey, listen, I want you to run a real estate company. So when I got into C20, it all changed for me because I met a guy named David Kellerman, the guy who hired me at C21, and he says, okay, now that you're a C21 broker, your job position changed. I had to stop selling real estate day one.
Wow.
So the only way that I can grow or make an income for my family and myself was to grow other people. So literally on day one, it's like stop smoking cigarettes. I never smoke, but it's like stopping smoking cigarettes or whatever, that I couldn't sell real estate any longer. So
what went through your mind at that moment?
Well, it's scary because the one thing that you know how to do well in your 20s is how to sell.
Right.
I've had a little success with that. I knew that. Now I have to, run a team. I've been on sports teams, things like that. I understand what the dynamics of that's all about. But you're taking people. A lot of times they don't have any formal skills of selling, and they're into real estate. So we were kind of learning at the same time together. So when looking back 30 years, it was probably the most fun of my life at running a real estate company, because we had a lot of people in their 20s energized to go do the things that we were accomplishing. So we were,
What were some challenges that you encountered being a young broker?
Being a young broker, just like being a young agent in the market, some people say, well, you don't have the experience. So obviously, my counterparts, competitors, they would say, hey, listen, he's brand new. Just because he sold a lot of real estate, lists a lot of real estate, that doesn't mean he's going to be able to do that. So you had to learn very quickly how to run a real estate company. You have to do it financially. You have to, understand the laws. You have to do those things, and some of the things I fell short on, and because you had to learn and how to make up for some of the mistakes you were making. So in this business today, especially because the margins are so small, if you make a mistake today in real estate running a company, you can be out of business by the end of the year. So yeah. So the nice thing is C21, the brand, it really helped me understand. It was like a continuation of college, how to run a successful real estate company. So those tools were in place back then. So it wasn't just me doing the stuff.
So the great thing was that you had support from C21, and they were backing you up and putting pretty much all the tools for you, the blueprint for you to go out there and
exactly. So that's what that brand's all about, and you leverage the individuals in that brand, the knowledge power that they have, and then being able to do the things year in, year out, every single year. Because one thing is getting to the top is quite frankly, as an agent, as a broker, is easy to do. Staying there, quite honestly, is very difficult.
And you've done it for 33 years.
Yeah, does it show?
You've done it for 33 years.
Yeah.
You're consider your company the top 1% of Century 21.
Yeah.
And that's huge.
Yeah, thanks. It is. I think it's a lot of work. My days, if you want to ask about schedules, I start at 4 o'clock in the morning. I wake up, I do my thing.
Today?
Yeah, I'm on the freeway at about 6:45 in the morning.
Wow.
We have training classes start at 8 o'clock, so you have to be here because, the leader has to lead. And regardless of what the position of the company is, it's still me who does the basic fundamentals every single day. And I have a support staff, but there's no better thing to get people out of bed when you see the leader doing it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let me, quick question, why do you start your role playing at 8 o'clock in the morning?
It's something that we've always done. It's, I'm obviously I'm an early person, so it works for my schedule. But I think that if we're going to be individuals that is servicing the community and at the same time servicing our families at such a high level, I've never known anybody that's very successful that starts the day at noon. So a lot of times I think in real estate we try to push around what the norms are, and we think that, hey, coming at 9, 10, 11 and working your individual schedule versus a successful schedule is going to make it. And one thing I hope we touch on is, one thing I talk about is how agents fail is usually in their schedule.
Yeah.
Because like bills, we're always paying catch up.
Right.
And you can't play catch up. You gotta come dressed ready that you're going to meet a client today. You can't come dressed only on the days that you think you're going to meet a client or when you have an appointment. So every single day has to be a blueprint of success. and you got to get into that role every single day, because what we're looking to do is do something different that we've never done individually.
Right.
A lot of times we haven't made 100,000, 200,000, a million, $1.5 million. We've never done those things, so we have to look at those blueprints that you talk about and copy and duplicate what those other successful people in the past have done, and do those things, and not think that we can come in skinny jeans or t-shirts or no ties. So we have dress codes that we adhere to here. So that's the company. That's the culture of this company. Not to say that other cultures aren't good, but hey, that's this culture. This is our success level. So
there's no coincidence why you guys are one of the top. You guys have a high standard, so that's why you guys get that result. You guys get that high standard results. Like, it's funny because I'm in the security industry. But one thing that I can relate to you is that we're commission based, right? Yeah. So I always tell my guys the great thing that we have is that we have control of our time. Yeah. The bad thing is that we have control of our time. Yeah. If we're not schedule driven and we don't have a schedule and we don't follow it, like, it's easy to stay in bed. It's easy to doze off and get on the computer and not do anything, and then hours go by and you're like, what did I do? And following up or not doing what you're supposed to do to get you to that level of excellence. Yeah,
so you're in the business like us. You have to build that database. You have to build up that clientele every single day, and then you have to service it.
Absolutely.
So can you imagine people come to me and say, hey, we're here to fix your alarm, and they look a certain way. And you say, that's not right. Or if the alarm goes off and no one calls, say, hey, are you okay? So those are fundamental things that I want from your business. There's fundamental things that our industry asks from us. So, and there's different levels. You can do it from the beginner level and stay there your entire career, and many agents do, or you can advance yourself and say, listen, I'm going to hold myself accountable to this standard, and I'm not going to act out in a negative way, and I'm going to do the things every single day to grow my business. And it's really it's a mindset, because we're challenged every single day of how we grew up. I mean, a lot of it is, our parenting, our brothers and sisters, our environment, the schools we went to, and you can't change the past.
Right.
But you can change the future, and these are the things why you get into real estate, because the industry is one of the best industries still out there. Probably maybe the only one with a high school education and no money in your pocket, with a lot of enthusiasm to go do the things that people ask of you for the good reasons. Because there's all good brokers out there, good managers. I've never met a really bad one, and their intentions are really good usually, but it's kind of like that parent relationship. We're always fighting with somebody about, hey, go do your job, because this is what's going to be good for you. So, it's good for you, it's good for me, that's why we do it. So hopefully that we continue to do this as an industry, because in the Southeast market where we're at, I think the per person productivity has gone down so low, we just haven't responded to the market appropriately. And once we see that...
Why is that?
Well, I think obviously it's the dollars in California. The average sale price is so high. So agents in the last 30 years, when I was selling real estate, the average commission was $2,750. Today in our market, $2,750.
Wow.
And today it's over $10,000 in a starter market. So an agent, they can live on doing a deal every 2 or 3 months. So if you look at our counterparts in Arizona, Texas, other places, they're selling 2 to 3 of the amount of homes that we're selling. And the reason why is because their sale prices are much low. Right. So it's not about the air of the food they breathe. It's really about this. Hey, every single day they had to perform at a higher level to make the same living that we're making today. So once we understand those numbers and we say, hey, listen, we can really make a career of ourselves if we do this job well. We see agents out there, great agents all the time. C21, Coldwell Banker, whatever those companies are, there's good role models out there if we understand what we have to do. Because, hey, listen, if we're going to make a lot of money and service our clients at a high level, we're going to have a discussion first is what time do we show up?
Right.
Okay, second is, hey, how do we need to look? What does the consumer want from us, not what do we want to do? What do they expect from us? Because a lot of times I tell agents, I see, hey, they're out there door knocking, they're not getting the result, and I say, well, you're in a t-shirt and shorts with a hat on.
What do you expect?
I mean, yeah, so it's, agents, they come to me and say, hey, listen, I'm doing a home inspection, I'm dressed like you, Joe, and people are coming up to me and saying, hey, are you the agent? And I said, quite frankly, the same thing happens when an agent's out there in their shorts because they think they're not working. Hey, I'm doing a home inspection today, I'm going to be there 2 or 3 hours. But the community's out there watching, and they're not going to walk up to the guy who they think is a termite guy, or the guy who's doing the inspection. So we have to be this way every single day, and people have to understand this is a real job for us versus we're just taking from the market and trying to skim off the top, basically.
Absolutely, I agree with you 100%. Going back and touching back on what you talked about when people make a sale $2,700 and they make a sale $10,000, their necessity level is way different, right? Because of the commission that they're gonna be getting. So their financial, because I experienced that in my industry as well. Like we get somebody that starts at a low commission, then they start making a lot of money, and their production drops. Because now instead of them making 5 sales, 1 sale will generate those 5 sales that they would have made in the past. So they get comfortable. So what are some qualities that you look for when you're hiring people? Because I know that you just don't hire anyone, and I know that your time is valuable. So when you're mentoring someone, what are some qualities that you look for to invest that time with those persons? Because I know that you're not going out there and spending all the time with everybody.
I don't know that there's really a something I can look at you and say, hey, listen, this guy's going to be good, because I've hired people that I thought were going to be great. They turn out not to be very good in sales or your value system. They just didn't match values. Maybe they're just the wrong person for the industry because they're just bad people. And I saw people that I thought wouldn't do much and just come out of the blue, doing stuff. So I've had a couple of TCs, transaction coordinators, that have worked for me for years, and they come out of doing that job and they're in the real estate field, and I'm like, wow, they've done so well so quickly. So you see it. So I don't know if there's an indicator you can really look at, but when you look at the past, if you ask the right questions, and for most real estate brokers and managers, is really looking at the first 30 days of a brand new person would really dictate maybe the rest of their life, because that's where their energy levels should be the highest, where they really want to go out there and prove to you and prove to myself that, hey, listen, I want to do this job. So that enthusiasm level. So it's kind of like, are they really enthused to do this job in this business? So going back to the commission, how we do it is like, hey, listen, we shouldn't be driven by the dollar bill. Even though, hey, at the end of the day, we're here all to make money, profit. It's not a bad thing, but we shouldn't be driven by the dollar bill. We should be driven about the market. And the market means this, that, hey, listen, in the city of blank, if there's 2,000 sales out there, what percent of those sales are you going to get? And you want to look at, hey, who are the top 10 agents in that business, in that market? And of those top 10, who are they and what are they doing and how are they doing it? So if we want to be competitive, not just be driven by a dollar bill, we have to find out, are we servicing the community as good as the top 10 people in that market? So that's a different eye. And what happens when you look at that, you're not thinking about your next commission check, putting it in the bank and going to Las Vegas and getting bottle service. Okay, because hey, listen, I got to serve this community at this level. So it's really thinking, okay, this is what the community wants from me. So you're going to be above average and compete at this level, or you're going to fall into that trap that you're just going to be an average human being that, hey, for the next 30 years, you're just going to barely make it. And that's not why our parents put us on this earth, hopefully. It's just to be basic fundamental people. So hopefully they go to an organization or a place that, hey, that is commonplace. Because in real estate, a lot of times, because of the easy entrance, it's easy also to fail. So you want to be a little bit competitive, or learn how to be competitive, and really say, hey, listen, I want to be at that level with those people, because the air is very thin up there, and it's also very lonely. Because a lot of times people, they're not at that level doing those types of things.
So a person that gets started with you in the first 30 days, what are some fundamentals that?
Simple. Show up. First thing. Why people fail? They just don't show up. They're not consistent. And
that was one of my questions. Why people?
Yeah, they don't show up, and I think a lot of times, Jeff,
why do you think they don't show up though?
A good question. I don't think they understand what can be pulled from this industry. This industry, quite frankly, is life changing. It will literally change your life. Look at me. I grew up, average. Parents had one car, barely could go on vacation to grandma and grandpa's house. We drove there, and we didn't have the lifestyle like I have today. So I knew having friends that had that type of stuff. They would go on vacation, they would go on a plane, they would do those things, and our family couldn't afford it. So we were very able to afford what we had, and my parents did the best they could. But when I met the real estate broker and I tied into some of my sports coaching, it was able to say, hey, listen, you can do these things. But my coach was, he was a tough guy. It wasn't like today that he said things to me that maybe were wrong. I remember hitting on the side of the head saying, hey, listen, get up and go do your job, or leave. So I look back, I'm thinking, God, I wish I would have got hit a couple more times, because it was a really good moment. See, today I think we're afraid to do those things.
So you appreciate that he was like that with you?
Oh, I do, because my dad did the same thing. So I was used to it, and I got hit a lot because I didn't do what I was supposed to do a lot. But every single day it was very simple. He said, here are some flyers. There's the door. I want you to finish, and when you get there, come back and tell me what happened. And in my first day, it made me luck, or in the right place at the right time. I listed a house my first day. Didn't know what I was doing, but I had to bring the person back and said to the broker, hey, listen, they said they want to sell a house, and he did the whole thing. had no idea what was going on, but he told me, hey, go door knock and say these things. And I can't believe what I said, but hey, person came back, listed the property, we sold it the next day, and that started the career. And then he said to me, and this was in the city of Bellflower, he said, hey, listen, I think the city of Norwalk is going to be Hispanic like you, like me, so I want you to go to Norwalk. Now, 30 years ago, Norwalk was predominantly Anglo, white.
Yeah.
So he says, hey, I think it's going to go Hispanic, so go there. So the guy had some thoughts in his mind where I should go. So, like you and I started, I thought we were going to do this, you thought we were going to do this in Spanish. I speak no Spanish, so it wasn't my issue. So I just went out there every single day and did the same thing. I started here, ended there. So, first couple of days or 30 days in real estate, it was 6, 7, 8 hours of door knocking every single day.
So you didn't even create a story like, I can't speak Spanish, I'm not going to be able to talk to people at the door, I will get a different response. Like, you just went out there and listened to what people were telling you.
Yeah, and what I find is that, folks at the door, they feed on your energy. And so many times that, it was in my mind that they would say, hey, this person down the street, like there was a man named Daniel Davidson, and he was my competitor, and I looked forward, it was great that he was my competitor because he made me do it at a better level. So every single day, and I had to go do this, and they called himself the Iron Man of real estate, and he was like this. And I would door knock, and even the kids knew who the Iron Man of real estate was because he had put such a name out there. And I'd always say, hey, Jeffrey, I know that Daniel's the guy that you would go with because, listen, he's established, he knows what he's doing, but listen, I'm going to ask you for a favor for my opportunity in your life. The same thing someone's going to give your kids one day. If you give me an opportunity, I promise you I won't let you down. And if I do, you can terminate me.
Wow.
So
with that confidence.
Yeah, that worked because I knew I had to beat the Iron Man. And it was just a tall, lanky guy. He wasn't the Iron Man. He was like a weakling, but he sold a lot of real estate. So I was fortunate that I was able to have that person in place, that I had something to go after, versus the dollar bill. And you had to be better every single day. So I'd wake up and get the MLS and I'd say, dude, he just listed another house, or he just sold his house. So that would make me want to do it even more. So, and I understood that, hey, there's more properties out there. So between the two of us, and there was great guys out there, Steve Marquez, there was just great individuals doing business, 30, 40, 50, 60 homes a year. And, I said, hey, listen, I can do that if I outwork them. So my strategy back then was, hey, they had the money, they had the clout, they had the energy, but hey, listen, I was able to go out there and outperform because I could door knock longer than them. And it wasn't fun sometimes. There was days that, because a lot of people weren't doing what I'm doing out there, or what you do every single day to run your business. So, I just had to have that mindset. But the nice thing is the broker would always wind me up in the morning and encourage me that this is going to work. And there came a day where I knew that this was working. And it was when I was showing one of my listings to a couple, and their kid was in the back seat. And this guy was about 7 years old, and he said this, why does Joe have his name on all these signs? So I was driving down the street, they saw the for sale signs, and I said, that kid's a smart kid. I'm doing it the right way. So if a 9-year-old could figure that out, the rest of the adults will do it.
Absolutely.
So, and once you get this thing going, it's a second adrenaline. You just want to keep going and doing it. So hopefully that same thing's happening today in real estate for me and this company and doing what we're doing today. So that's kind of the Reader Digest of doing that type of stuff.
That's beautiful. What are some current challenges that you're encountering right now with today's market, social media, how everything is shifting, and how not that many people are door knocking now? Now everything's done through social media. Like how has that been a challenge, and how has that helped you grow your business at the same time?
Yeah, it's kind of like you look at the president, you say fake news, or if you hear social media, there's a lot of distractions today for realtors. Do it this way, do it this way. There's hundreds of coaches out there right now, all trying to get your money or your time or your energy and say, hey, this is the right way of doing it. And for a lot of those folks, they're good at what they do. I mean, there's some few ones out there, and I can say their names, but I won't. But they're good ones out there. Mm-hmm. But I think there's a lot of distractions in our today business, and a lot of the distractions for some agents is to keep them from doing their job. I see people that they're running from seminar to seminar. They're running from event to event, and it's like we have information overload, and now what we have to do is say to ourselves, hey, listen, are we really going to do the work, or are we being busy not wanting to work?
Not wanting to.
Yeah, because at the same time, I just, sometimes I look at folks, I say, hey, listen, Jeff, how do you make this thing work? You should be the treasurer of the country because, hey, listen, you've only got 2 deals all year long. How do you survive this? And I think what happens, we learn to do a lot more with a lot less, and that's not why we got into real estate, because the abundance of real estate's there. So it's really about that distraction, and you really have to think, okay, it's great to go get information. I think coaching's really good and going to seminars are good, but hey, you can't go to them all like this. I mean, I get these kind of requests a lot, and most of them through my assistant is no, because have a job to do.
Right.
So it's just a distraction. There's so many of them today.
And I could relate to that. Like me personally, I was that person
Mm-hmm.
that was going from seminar to seminar to
Yeah,
seminar.
yeah.
FOMO, which is fear of missing out.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to be there and say that I was there, but I'm like, man, it came to the point that I realized I'm like, all right, what am I putting to work? Is my life changing
Or what you're trying to avoid.
yeah, or what am I trying? Yeah, what am I trying to avoid? What am I missing? What am I learning here? And the moment that I started applying the stuff, like things started shifting.
Yeah.
And I know that's why I got this interview with you, because my come from now is totally different. The person that I was yesterday is completely different than the person that is sitting down with you today, because now I'm talking and I'm walking with intention.
Yeah.
Before it was just like wanting from a place of wanting to look good and afraid of looking bad. Now it's like, no, now I have a purpose. Now I have a drive. Like exactly same way that when you were going out there door knocking, it wasn't about the dollars. It was about, man, you wanted to be the best, and you wanted to beat that gentleman because you had a purpose. That was your drive, and that's what continued moving you forward.
Yeah, it's that, plus it's also afraid of failure.
Exactly.
And it's still today in my life, because I wake up and I say, wow, we're this, and I'm thinking, God, we're in this place. And, as a company, we do well compared to other companies. But, there's always that fear that, hey, we're missing something. So it charges you every single day to get up, because, after a period of time, you have to get into those rhythms and have those models in place that, the market, like a good wave, will actually take you to where you want to be. So it's not, working every single day like on the first day, because, one of the distractions I see in real estate is that, you can have an agent in first year in business, you can have someone who's been in the business 20 years, and sometimes the guy in 20 years is doing the same thing a brand new agent's doing. And they didn't take care of the business of their foundation. And unfortunately, they're having to do those things every single day. So when you put the foundation in place, then the market will take off, because quite frankly, you should be able to go on vacation and have things open for you or closed for you while you're enjoying yourself. So, you see superstar agents like every single day, they go on vacation and they talk about, hey, I closed 6 deals while I was in Hawaii. And that's a great thing, because that's what this business will do, the affordability of this business regarding time off and things like that you don't have to work 7 days a week when you start off. Now, 7 days a week when you're brand new is kind of like a requirement to get this thing going, because
if you don't do it, you're doing something wrong, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it's a great thing. So these are great questions.
Thank you, man. I'm learning a lot from you right now as we speak, and so I know that you have kids. What are some things that you instilled in your kids that have helped them propel and grow in their lives?
Yeah, well, I think for having a real estate company, I think it helps you prepare to being a father. Yeah, it does help you. It does help you, because some of the same dynamics happen here at the office that happen at home. So it's really understanding, and hopefully that you leave good success trails for them to pick up. So they all go in different directions, and they all from being a police officer to being a real estate agent to different goals that they have in their life. But the nice thing is, my kids, I think they were given a lot of stuff, and a lot of times I think today that as parents, that may be sometimes the wrong thing to do for them, because you have to be able to earn this stuff. So every single day they have to get up and earn what they're doing also. But being a broker will help you in that fatherhood stuff.
So you have sons that are...
Yeah, both my sons are in real estate right now.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah. How is that like?
It's a challenge, because you're a father at home and you're a boss here, and sometimes it's tough to be both of them, and it's hard sometimes. And I think their learning curve has to be their own personal learning curve, where they have to learn and understand that these things that you have in life, you have to earn them and have to go out and work for them. And once you have the appreciation for that, then everything else is fine.
So they don't get special treatment or nothing.
No, my kids, they get special treatments. They get treatments that I've never had in life. So, yeah, it's funny, but it's one of the good things about being a parent, that you're able to do those things for your children. So, but sometimes I think you go overboard with them too. So.
Let me ask you this: well, in your life, like when you were in the 33 years that you've been in the industry, what were some times that you ever experienced, like, oh man, like I don't know if this is something that I want to do, like you had a major setback or like a life-changing moment that you're like, oh man, like started questioning everything, like if this is something for me?
Yeah, a few times. One just last year, and
really,
yeah, it was just getting into the values of, and it was good for me because something unfortunately happened here with an agent doing some very bad things, and it was just wrong. But what I got out of that I got values for me, what I would stand for, what I'm not going to stand for. We can't cheat people. We can't take advantage of older people. We can't do those things as an industry, because our industry will be nothing for all of us. And as practitioners, we all have to say to ourselves, hey, it's up to each of us to police this industry, and we're responsible to make sure that we get the bad apples out. So unfortunately, we hired a bad apple, and it was just probably the worst agent I ever hired. Good person, but made some bad mistakes, and just horrendous mistakes, and didn't take responsibility at the end. So unfortunately, we had to terminate him because it wasn't a good match. But what I got out of that, and what this company got out of it, what we will stand for, what we will not stand for. So here's my thing: hey, you can make a mistake as long as you take financial responsibility and you apologize and you do things to correct it. I'm fine with people that make mistakes, but if you don't do those things, my value system doesn't have you in part of my life.
Love it.
Yeah. So in real estate, I think the majority of people are good people, but there's some people out there, unfortunately, they got a license, they should not have a license. And it's up to all of us to make sure that, we do not do that. Because the person I'm speaking about, I've heard people say, hey, listen, if that was my parents, and unfortunately this person said this, I would kill a guy.
Absolutely.
It was that bad. And
Absolutely.
we should all have ethics and values that we make sure that we don't fall below any standard of care in this industry, because, we have to protect it, because some people come in and they can destroy this from under us.
Wow.
Yeah.
Why do you think people are still like that in the industry, and they're still...
I don't know. It's like, finding out someone's good or bad or whatever. You just don't know. But, I missed a lot of signs. And, sometimes being optimistic and wanting to help people and help guide them through issues. And, you kind of see and say, hey, listen, maybe we can do it this way. And quite frankly, there's some things that can't be fixed if people don't take responsibility. So it's just, we have to police ourselves. But the good thing is I know my values. So that was the right thing.
And you're in a better place now.
Yeah, but it was tough, because there was a time, Jeff, that I said to myself, why am I in real estate? I really said that. I said, why am I in real estate? And you get to those dark moments and you're sleeping at night and waking up saying, is this worth it? I always say to myself, hey, I can go out and sell a couple hundred homes a year. I can do that. I know I can do that.
So let me ask, what story did you buy into when you were asking yourself that?
Well, then I thought, we all think about that moment, but I have a lot of realtors here that are just good people. And I know their values are the same as mine. We align our values right. So, and when I talk to my wife and different people, unfortunately, we have to go through that. You're going to hire someone that they may do something wrong, and that's part of being ownership. But we have to make sure that we know the difference for us individually, because, I can't wake up at night knowing that someone took advantage of someone older financially. That's just hard for me to swallow. And I put myself, like this agent said, if those were my parents, how would I feel? So as an industry, we've got to make sure that we're treating, especially older people, the very, very, very best. And unfortunately, this company fell short of that through one of its representations of one of its agents. So, we fix it with the person. So hopefully they're doing well now, and hopefully they go on their life, and it's a smiling event for them today.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you're still here, man.
Yeah, me too.
And I bet that you're even hungrier now.
Yeah, there's, I don't know, hungrier now. There's, you get distractions doing things, but I think 2020 is going to be a really great year for us, because I think vision-wise, I'm more focused than I've ever been. So what we have to do every single day.
In what aspect?
Well, getting back to the fundamentals of, for you and different agents, that we're going to personally do our best. We're going to serve the community at a different level, and we're going to be able to excel at this level, comparing ourselves to other great companies throughout the country. So.
That's beautiful. Did you experience any challenges in the beginning as a young broker?
Oh yeah. Just I think in the beginning you know how to look at a profit and loss statement, how to look at financial statements, ordering computers, ordering copy machines, renting, owning.
Because how did you go from 1,000 square foot office to now owning a building of over 23,000 square feet?
Yeah, no, the office was a single office. This office that we're in today is larger than the office that I started in.
Really?
Yeah, it was probably 200 square feet. And
so it wasn't 1,000 square feet.
No, we went from 3 locations, and
Okay.
we're almost 50,000 square feet today.
Wow.
But that just shows that we're leveling up to where we need to be to service the community. Not that we just have a number of people here, but as a company, we have to do a better job in the per person productivity, making sure that everybody who's on the roster is getting what they need financially out of the industry, and they're succeeding, because we have people here that they're unsuccessful still. And we have to do a better job as managers to make sure that we wake them up to understand that, hey, this industry can provide this to you, because we get caught up in living our life.
Right.
We really do. The bills get us down, the wife, the husband, the kids, our car not working, things like that. I've seen out in the parking lot in a bad recession when people's cars are getting towed away. And, that's just not taking responsibility for where we have to be because, hey, if the market's going down, we just have to work a little bit harder. We do it every single day. So, yeah, when you look physically at the locations we've been to, and this is a nicer location. It suits us well and suits me well, and it should because I spend 8, 9, 10, 12 hours here every single day. So you may as well enjoy where you're at.
Absolutely, yeah. You're spending practically all your whole day here.
Yeah, there's been 12-hour days in my days in just the last month where, I'm at the office at 7, I go home at 7. And, I go down the freeway and I'm thinking, wow. But, the next day you think, hey, there's something good at, you're laying a foundation down again to level up to be at a certain level.
Wow.
So, yeah, so, even after 30 years, sometimes you have to put the time in. Yeah.
So who did you learn from the most? Who were your mentors in the process?
Oh, it's a couple. David Kellerman, he's passed on. He was the guy who hired me at C21. He was a great mentor. He was almost like a father to me. And obviously Mike Ferry, many people know Mike. And
Absolutely.
He's conventional. He'll challenge you because I've coached personally with him, and I don't think there's any greater coaching company and a better mind than Mike. And I say that because I get to sit with him. I've had dinner with him, breakfast with him. I spend time with him, and he's a human being who really cares about people. When you see him on stage, he's a performer. He does the things that he does, but you know what? The man cares about people. And when you have someone that can care about you, they listen. You got everything in life you need because he has a wealth of information out there, and he's seen the most successful real estate agents worldwide. So I always want to tap into that stuff, and he's a great guy. So yeah, I've had some really good role models, even for my parents. And for my wife, my kids, they're all great models. They're great people here at this company that they say, hey, listen, let's take that ride to be number one again. Let's do what we have to do. So, when you have those people around you that believe in you, hey, it's a much easier place to be versus going it alone. And
Right.
Many agents go it alone.
So do you recommend an agent to get coaching, hire a coach so they could find their blind spots, or do you consider, or would you not recommend that at first?
Well, at first what I do is I would really interview who the best of the best was. And I did that with a broker. And I wanted to find out who the best one was. And through the language and coaching, like I said, college and high school, I was doing athletic stuff. I could relate to what this person said. He was very tough on me. So I could relate to that. So I would go to that place. I would ask those questions because today the question is, well, what's my commission? I'm always thinking, well, I don't even
That's
know
what they start with?
Yeah, it's unfortunate. It's the wrong language, and you want to go to, hey, listen, I want to go to where I'm going to grow. And success leads clues, and you look around. And all the brokers and managers, we're all self-serving. We can say good things to you, but hey, listen, what are the results I'm going to get? What's the expectation out of me? And if that's not there, then I guess you're going to go to where your commission is going to be the highest, but you're going to expect that you're not going to do as many deals. So for many agents, the commission has to be high because they're not doing volume. Mm-hmm. When you do volume, the commission doesn't have to be where it's a win-lose, where it's a lose for the broker. So a lot of companies are that way. And the second thing is you look at models. This model here is I haven't sold real estate in 30-some years. And typically the best person in that office is typically that broker of knowing how to sell. But they have to replace, my belief is that they have to instill that into their agents. And you have to be able to push them out there and duplicate and replicate what you've done in the market and get them to do it at a higher level.
So in that aspect, since you haven't sold houses in that long, do realtors try to challenge you like, hey, you're coaching me, but you haven't sold a house in this market?
No, they don't dare to do that. It's a thing. It's selling, and can I go out there and do this at a super high level? I think so.
Absolutely.
Because I
mindset, right?
It is mindset. Plus, I get to see great people here every single day that does it. So, hey, listen, no, we don't have that. Hey, this is my job to get you to go out there and see the information and do something with the information, and at the same time say, hey, listen, this is your life. You may not have a repeat after of a life again, so you may as well live the best life that you possibly can have. And it's a lot of times we talk about money, and it's unfortunate we do, but hey, money is the thing that's going to get us renting versus buying a house that you can afford. Then after you can afford that house, you say, okay, where do I want to live, or what type of home do I want to be in that I want to be in versus I can afford? So a lot of times we get stuck in that affordability. And we have to say to ourselves, hey, what type of life do I want to design for myself? Mm-hmm. And understand if we want to design that life, then we have to do the work to be able to get to that point. Okay, and every single day. So, unfortunately, I'm kind of at that place, but hey, I still show up every single day, and it's a habit People say, why do you show up? I said, it's a habit. It's like, yes, going to the restroom. You wake up, you go to the restroom.
It's like bathing. You got to do it every day, right?
hopefully we do it every day. But
I did it today.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, let's just say that, because I know that there's a lot of people out of state that are watching this, that they're starting, they have their own brokerage. What are some things that you might recommend to them? Because I know it's different from being an operator to actually being a business owner. What are some key points that you might want to share with them that will help them grow their business?
Okay, same for agents as brokers. First thing is we have to do is, why are we in the business? Understand what's our responsibility. So for an agent or broker, what I would suggest is, hey, go out there and get the information about who the best of the best is. Let's start at the top and find out and really study what they do every single day. Because like I said, success will lead clues. A lot of times your competitors, the best people, they'll tell you everything you need to know because they're lonely and they want to talk. So hey, just go there and want to listen. So in the beginning, I was on a plane every 2 weeks around the country and going to visit all the best brokers out there every 2 weeks and going to see, hey, what's it take to have a great sales meeting? What's it take to be a great salesperson? What's it take to be a great broker? And I've been fortunate to walk into some of the best companies. There is one in Berkshire Hathaway, great company in Nebraska. He's in an office that makes this one look small. 650 agents, they sell over 10,000 homes a year. Now listen, they're in Nebraska. Nebraska of all places, the #1 single office in the history of real estate. So visit that man many times and see what they do. So I would identify what the best is and then start from there and figure out where do you want to be and find out, hey, if you're going to want to be the best, to reconcile, you're going to have to do the work to get there. You can have a dream or a fantasy all you want, but if you're not wanting to do the work, hey, listen, you're just going to be frustrated because that dream is never going to come true and you're just going to be like hitting your head and you may as well just get into drinking because it's the only thing that's going to soothe the pain. So start at the very top and figure out, hey, listen, this is what they do every single day. And start talking to them, hang out with them, talk to them on the phone, go visit with them, do whatever you have to do to start being like they are.
Start modeling what they're doing, their actions.
Yeah, it takes me back when Mike Ferry, when Tom was on stage recently, and he said something real profound. He says, Joe, I worked for the first 7 years before I made a dollar bill. And I said, wow, you flew around at your own expense and you did
for 7 years?
They made no money. I'm like, wow. That guy deserves every single dollar, the millions of dollars he makes because of what he was able to do in the very beginning. But he believed in himself.
Wow.
Okay, every single day. So yeah, I would do that and figure out what that is. So if it's an agent, hey, find out who the best of the best is. Don't sell everywhere. Say, hey, listen, these 2 or 3 markets, I'm going to be a competitor. And figure out what it could take to be a competitor. And once we have that conversation with us, you're a step closer. And then you say, hey, listen, what is that person doing with what I'm doing? Hey, listen, just be in the top 10 next year. Figure out what's it take to be in the top 10, selling a house, listing a home in a given area, or closing a home. What's it take to be in the top 10? Because when you have that language, every one of us and every company has a capability of doing that. But what we fall short is we don't have the sincere conversation with ourselves that, hey, we can do it at that level. Because, hey, our childhood's talking to us, our parents are talking to us, that teacher who said you were not going to be any good is going to talk to us. Because, hey, listen, the past is the past. Because the industry will do what it wants to do with you if you want to do it for them. So, start at the very top and figure out where you want to be.
Set yourself a standard, high standard, and do not negotiate from it. Yeah. I had a chance of hearing Cody Bryan a couple of weeks ago, and one thing that he said so profound was that he's like, since I was a little kid, I knew that I wanted to be the best. Yeah, period. End of story.
Yeah,
I did not negotiate with that.
He doesn't negotiate with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but hey, listen, listen, it's going to be tough. Yeah. You're not going to win all the time. Hey, we're not winning this year. I mean, we'll be in second, third, fourth place this year.
It's okay, right?
Well, not really. But it's, and it's not their fault, it's my fault because you take your eye off the ball. So getting back focused. So, hey, there's that intensity that you still want to be competitive, but at the same time, hey, listen, I let them down because, hey, my eye was taken off the ball because of distractions of my life. So, hey, we're going to get back into it and have fun in 2020 again.
So what's your goals for the next 5 years?
It'd be nice to be #1 worldwide again. We've had a couple of years we were that.
How many times have you done that?
I think 2 or 3 times. And, being #1 in Los Angeles, we've done that, I think for the last 20 years.
Since 1995, am I correct? Right?
Yeah.
Like that?
Yeah, and I took a see those trophies downstairs. But yeah, there's, we're blessed, we're fortunate. But, with that said, we've also done the work. We've done the work and we have to go through, like what we talked about, sometimes you hire the wrong people. Instead of knocking you down, we just get stronger with that. Because there's always going to be a setback. There's always going to be one every single day, but there's also good stuff that happens.
Steve Harvey said, he's like, life comes with two things. Every situation that happens, it comes with a lesson and a blessing.
Yeah.
And
Which one is going to be the lesson or the blessing?
Yeah.
You just don't want too many lessons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want a lot more blessings, that's for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Joe, what final question.
Mm-hmm.
What are some things that, as you're growing up and this has to do with the parenting, because I have 2 kids, and yesterday I got a chance to go to speak with middle school students, and it blew my mind because I had them do affirmations. Like, I'm big on affirmations. My kids, every time that I'm taking them to school, I constantly tell them affirmations, and I had them say, I'm a champion, I'm a winner, I have greatness within me. About 90% of the room, they say that they have never said that to themselves. So what are some things that parents could start programming their children to speak life into them? Because I know that, especially in the Latino community, like when I grew up, my parents didn't constantly tell me that I had greatness or that they loved me. Like it's very rare in the Latino community. And why do you think is that, and what do you think that we could start shifting that in today's society?
Yeah, good question. I don't agree with you. I think we do have conversations with ourselves every single day. We may not think of them, but we have those conversations. So fortunately with me through sports and through coaches, I was able, they self-actualized me to do better and individually as a team. So I got that. So I understood in my mind what that had to be. So I can go to a place where I could find safety of what I need to do, if that makes sense. So I think, kids and adults, we all have those conversations in our head, and many times they're not good conversations, and they're self-defeating, and we have to replace those conversations with the ones that we want. So if it's affirmation, I personally like reading. I like listening to Steve Harvey. My wife will tell you that, if I ever want to have a good time in my bed, I listen to YouTube videos because Steve Harvey is funny as hell. It makes me laugh, and if you can make yourself laugh every single day, life shouldn't be that tough. But getting back to those things, you have to, start being competitive and start replacing those self-defeating, thoughts that we have every single day. Those self-doubts, going on that Lucid presentation, is your thoughts that you're going to get it. Your thoughts are, what if I don't? Because we have thoughts. We have thoughts every single day. When you go home, is your thought that I'm going to be in a good mood versus bad mood? I'm not great at this because sometimes I have those thoughts. I told you this year, I thought, I'm going to get out of this business because of things that were happening. I just thought it was unfair, but I thought, that's not right, because it was one situation, one person, and it shouldn't define who I am or this company. It shouldn't define us. So, having those positive affirmations every single day. And the other thing, just be a happy person. So just gotta be happy. Hey, if you're out there doing the work, you should be a happy person, because, luck will take you where you need to go also. But you have to be in that right place to be lucky. And you can't be lucky, in your bed at 10 o'clock. You can't be lucky if you want to show up at the office at 11:30 to go to lunch. You can't be lucky if you want to leave at 4 o'clock. You're not going to be lucky. It's going to be some bad conversation you're going to have yourselves, because financially we have to be able to support ourselves and our family and our future. Because we're all getting older, you know that, right? Yeah. So I remember being at your age, I thought, I'd never be 57 years old.
I remember when I was 18, now I'm 32, man.
Yeah. So you're married?
I'm married.
Kids?
I have 2 kids.
All right,
yeah.
so you know what this is all about.
Yes.
So what we should do with you is get you into real estate, because a career in real estate, selling alarms is much better in real estate versus selling alarms. So we can have that conversation also.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it'd be a good thing. I think you'd be a great listing agent. Yeah, I really do.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, so you're a salesperson, right?
Absolutely.
Would you like to make more money?
Absolutely.
So we can have that conversation.
Yeah.
We're going to hire this guy, too. Here's my new recruit right here. Yeah, that'll be great. Because how many alarms do you have to sell? That's a lot.
I sell a lot.
Yeah.
To make over 6 figures, you got to sell a lot.
Oh, yeah, that's a lot. But you know what? You can do so much. It'd be so much easier in real estate with your talents.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is that recruiting stuff going on right now.
Look at him. Always closing.
Always closing, yeah.
I love it.
No, but he would be a great salesperson right here. Sometimes we're great salespeople, but we're just in the wrong industry.
Yeah.
We're just in the wrong industry. You know how many car salespeople that I have here? People who sold furniture, and now they're some of the best salespeople. They were the best salespeople selling cars and selling furniture, but they got into the right industry, and now they have those sales skills. They're able to bring it over here, and it's life changing. So you like to change your life, right?
I absolutely.
So what's your wife's name?
My wife is Natalie.
I'll call Natalie and set up an appointment with her to have you come in.
You close her.
Yeah.
I've sold my whole life, man. I started selling from the trunk of my car.
Yeah, good.
I've always had that within me, and I love communicating with people.
Yeah.
And building stories. Yeah. The stories are what sells.
Well, one way we can help people, like Hispanic people, like you talked about, is being successful.
Right. Being an example.
Exactly. So when they come to you and they say, hey, listen, you're me. I remember an older lady coming here and made me feel good because she looked like Mother Teresa. And she came up and she saw my picture. There's a big picture out in front of me, and she said, hey, you look important. Can I talk to you? And she made me feel good because, she had criticisms for the company from a person. But she said, I'm very excited for you being a Hispanic man for what you're doing for us.
Absolutely.
And she felt it from her heart, and I said, wow, that's nice that you do that. Now, she was only like 5 feet tall, but she said, what you're doing here for these Hispanic people is so good. And I don't think that because I just think, we do it for anybody or whoever wants to do it. But, fortunately, we have a big Hispanic population here, and understanding some of the disadvantages that we had to work through. Yeah. And seeing someone who's come from 2 generations ago saying, hey, listen, you're doing God's work, because that's what she said.
Absolutely, you are.
Yeah. So.
Now I want to commend you for that because I'm inspired by you.
Yeah.
And it's just, you had that courage of stepping up to you and being in your true power. And really now you're sharing it with other people. And it's like, my favorite quote, one thing that it says is, your playing small does not serve the world.
Yeah.
By you not playing small, like, it's how many people now you're serving.
Yeah.
And how many people's lives you're changing because you were selfless. You were not being selfish. So, and I'm inspired by it 100%. And trust me, that's why I continue following up with you, because I knew that I had to get you on this podcast. I knew that I had to have a conversation, whether it's in camera or out of camera. Like I declare that. And one thing that I have is that when I declare something, it's like I demand it and I do not negotiate with it.
Did we talk? Did we talk to set this up, or somebody did it?
I talked with them.
Oh, okay. So I don't think you and I ever talked. Yeah, good for you.
Well, all the time I thought that it was you, because no.
Is it really that tough?
What?
Calling me? Is it really tough?
Well, yeah, I had a lot of challenges. Yeah, 8 months.
That reminds me when looking at my broker, I was, dumb enough or brave enough, or both, that I was able to get an appointment with a person. And I said, I keep hearing your name over and over, and I want to find out, Al, what you're all about. And I was able to sit there, and I remember him looking at me and said, hey, listen, if you're here tomorrow at 7 a.m., I'm going to give you a shot.
Wow.
And then he said, get out of my office. And quite frankly, I was there at 7 a.m. because I couldn't wait to take the ride, because, as a young person, I'd pull up there and I'd see a guy in a Rolls Royce. And I looked at the guy and I said, hey, listen, you remind me of my dad. And how he talked to me was, he wasn't trying to hire me and said, hey, what I can do for you. He says, this is what you're going to do for me, and you're going to do my job this way. So I said, hey, I'm able to do that. I can start at that house and I'll finish that house. Just tell me what to say. And he said, no, I did it. So, good for you. Congratulations to both of us, because we both took that step. And that step, when I look back, it's like it was probably the most important call of my life when I talked to the right person. But I kept hearing that person's name, and I knew I wanted to meet him because I knew that he was doing something in the market. Okay, so, congratulations to both of us. We both did it.
Walking by faith.
Yeah, because I don't think you and I have ever talked on the phone.
No.
I'm thinking,
like I mentioned, you came to my first event ever.
Yeah.
And I saw you that day, and I remember I was like, wow, man, Joe's here. But I never had the opportunity of talking with you.
Good. I'm glad we got to meet.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
So we got to get you into real estate, though, because you're selling the wrong thing.
I'm selling the wrong thing. Well, Joe, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for taking time and sharing some valuable information. And hope you guys tune in and make sure, where can they follow you on social media? Where are some places where they can find?
What are my social media? I'm on Instagram. What's the Instagram thing?
Joe Villaescusa or C21 All Stars.
Joe Villaescusa or C21 All Stars. Make sure that you guys follow him. He's constantly doing live. He's going live on Instagram, sharing some valuable information with you guys. And this is something that, again, association matters. If you hang around the right people, you're gonna start getting uncomfortable, and you're gonna want to do something. It's either you're gonna stop following them because it's getting you uncomfortable and you don't want to step up, or you're gonna step up because it's gonna get you uncomfortable.
Yeah. So,
yeah,
exactly.
So absolutely tune in. You guys have a phenomenal day and watch this over and over.
Hey, bye guys.